Romano drops a big update on a potential Manchester United exit as INEOS want to be ruthless again this summer. We saw Højlund and Onana forced out as we brought in Sesko and Lemons, and more players could be forced out this summer. We've got updates on Lisandro Martinez in Barcelona, updates on Elliot Anderson, Bruno Fernandes to stay. Now that would be absolutely massive, and maybe the best thing we can do this summer is get Bruno to stay because his release cost is £56 million, and I tell you what, you're not going to find a Bruno replacement for £56 million. We've got updates on Bruno Guimaraes again being linked to Manchester United and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into a 10-minute video for you guys. We're going to start by just the Sesko news because it's making me laugh. And, you know, this is what happens when you have one game a week, okay? When you have one game a week, when you have 40 games a season to the 60 games a season, it's dry. The journalists don't have as much to write about. So they start writing stories that no one cares about. No one gives a crap about. Are you ready? Benjamin Sesko is such a perfectionist. He had double-glazed windows fitted to his home to block out the air traffic noise from nearby Manchester Airport so his sleeping would improve. Who gives a crap? I just quote tweeted, "No Europe really got journalists scouting window frames now. Fixture list so light we've entered the home-based phase of coverage." We have. The news today on Benjamin Sesko, yeah? The stories today from Samuel Luckhurst on Benjamin Sesko are borderline stalkish. He lives near an airport. He doesn't like that the plane noise disturbs his sleep. Sesko's made sure he's got double glazed windows to help him sleep. I honestly, I was reading it and I thought, this isn't journalism. Surely no one cares. Surely no one cares about Sesko's window. Samuel Luckhurst also said that Sesko has a gym, a sauna, and a specifically designed football pitch at his house. I feel like Samuel Luckhurst has gone to Sesko's house, hidden in the bushes, thought, well, there's not much to write about this season because we have many games. And I just can't believe it. I can't believe we're getting journalist stories about what's in players' homes. Double glazed windows, people. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire footballer. I'm pretty sure most houses that cost over £1 million are going to have double glazed windows. Oh, shock. Anyway, like no one gives a crap about this story. Let's just get into the news that we do give a crap about. Manuel Ugarte could leave Manchester United this summer, with several Italian clubs showing interest. No shock here. There's always been rumours and speculation that Ugarte will leave. He's played about 20 minutes since Carrick has come in. He's barely playing. And look, that is because we've got one game a week. Some players aren't playing a lot at the moment because we just simply have barely any games and we don't need to rotate. Why change a winning side? If we were losing every game, you would speak about maybe switching it up, giving Ugarte a go, but we're not losing every game. We're literally winning every game and one draw under Carrick. 19 points out of possible 21. So a guy's not really going to get many more minutes this season. Unless a manager comes in next season that says they really want Ugarte, he's going to go. We all expect him to go. There's been rumours of him leaving since the start of the season, to be honest. I don't think he's good enough. I think, you know, he has good areas of his game. I think he can be a valuable squad player if he was more of an 8. I think he does play his better football when he's next to Casemiro and he can be further up the pitch. I think he presses high. But in our own half, in our own third on the ball, he is a little bit of a liability. You know, I think as a squad player, you don't mind a guy, but you spent 50 million on him. You want more than a squad player. You know, he showed signs of what he can do. He can cover a lot of ground. He's good at winning the ball back. But ultimately, he's not been good enough for Manchester United. And like Højlund, like Onana, who weren't good enough for Manchester United and shipped out after their second season, Ugarte looks set to be shipped out after a second season. And that's one thing I like about INEOS here. It's a pretty ruthless approach. Even though we're losing Casemiro, I don't think they're sitting here thinking, oh, we'll keep Ugarte for another season. Casemiro's going. They're thinking we need to replace Casemiro and we need to replace Ugarte. Like we need to replace Højlund with Sesko and Onana with Lemons. They've looked at Ugarte. Now, there is rumours that INEOS are even considering moving Mount on. That depends on, obviously, who the next manager is. The problem with Mount is he's on such high wages and has such a high injury record that United think it will be impossible to do anything other than loans for Mount. And I think they think he's too good of a player to loan out, whereas a guy they think we can actually sell. Yeah, some people say, would United look to move on Delot? I don't think so, but there's always rumours of clubs being interested in Delot. But I think INEOS is going to be pretty ruthless and make sure Ugarte is out the door this summer, hopefully on a permanent, not a loan. So this was a strange link coming. Actually, it's this is the third or fourth time this month that Lisandro Martinez has been linked to Barcelona. But interestingly, they were saying that Barcelona believed that Lisandro Martinez would be open to a move this summer. They feel United could be willing to sell with the defender nearing the final year of his deal. Now, Licha is very injury prone. If he wasn't injury prone, he'd be an unbelievable player. I think when fit, he's really valuable, really good player. And because he's so good when fit, I wouldn't sell Licha. Even though he's as injury prone as Mason Mount, I just think that he adds a little bit more than Mason Mount when fit. So I personally wouldn't sell Licha, but there is reports coming out that Barcelona believe that Lisandro Martinez would be open to a move. I think with his injury record, if Barcelona did offer us like 50 million, I do think United would consider that because of his injury record. Even though I think if Licha stays fit, he's so valuable to us, I do think United will consider it. I don't think Licha's bothered. I think Licha would happily stay at United, but I think Barcelona would make him think. I don't think Licha particularly wants out of Man United. I think he's happy here. I think he likes the club. I think he will stay. I don't expect Licha to go anywhere this summer. But I do think, there has been a lot of rumours of Barcelona having interest. And I do think that, if he finds out Barcelona are interested in him, he's probably going to be interested. Like, let's not lie. Like, he likes Man United. We're a huge club. But I feel like Barcelona and Real Madrid are probably the two clubs that could maybe convince a player to leave us if they were like a good player, if you know what I mean. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was interested in Barcelona, but I don't think he's a player that would actually try and force his way out of Man United. I think he'd be more than happy to see out his contract here. Let me know what you think down below. Talking of Champions League football, actually, we haven't mentioned Champions League football all video, but in my live stream earlier today, I was talking of Champions League football, how it could change everything in the summer window, and I was talking about how it improves our chances of getting Anderson and more. Well, the Mirror Football have now said the same thing. Manchester United securing Champions League qualification would dramatically boost their chances of landing Elliot Anderson this summer, though he's not yet made his mind up on which club is his preference. A bit like Semenyo, who didn't make his mind up for a couple of weeks, but we knew he was going to pick City. Anderson's not made his mind up yet, but we all kind of know he's going to pick City. He's not going to make his mind up until he knows that deal is basically done with City. Then he'll be like, okay, yeah, I've chosen City. Like, he's not going to make his mind up until the summer, until he knows that that club wants to go for him. Because if he went and said no to Man United, I want City, and City goes to him, no, we don't want to buy you anymore, it would be silly. I think we'd still buy him, to be fair. He'll make his mind up in the summer. He's choosing between Man United and Man City. As of now, it's still more likely he goes to Man City, but Champions League football could change that. We've got a big Bruno Fernandes update to get into. Bruno Fernandes will hold summer talks with Manchester United over his future. There's growing expectations that Bruno and Manchester United want to continue together, seen it internally as a key short to medium-term figure like Maino and Maguire. Maino needs to sign a new deal. Maguire's deal expires in the summer. Bruno has a release clause of 56 million active in the summer. There's very few signs that Bruno wants out. Man United believe that them and Bruno can come to an agreement and he should probably stay in the summer. I think if we get Champions League football, Bruno probably will stay. Maino is expected to sign a new deal and is happy now that Amarin's gone. And Maguire, despite his contract being up in the summer, United believe they'll reach an agreement with Maguire to stay. There's a feeling, despite rumours, that Maino, Maguire and Bruno will all stay at the club this summer. That's sort of the expectation, and I think that is huge. Romano was then asked about it and said top clubs from the Saudi Pro League are expected to come in for Bruno Fernandes this summer. It's up to Bruno what he wants to do. I do think Champions League football, Bruno spoke about how he missed Champions League football. I think if we get Champions League football, I think that Bruno will stay. I think if we don't get Champions League football, he may want to move on to bigger and better things because he's so good, he deserves a league title. The main reason I don't want to sell Bruno, outside of the fact that he's unbelievable and almost impossible to replace, it's not even like we're going to get 150 million for him. He's got a 52.5 million release clause. Some sources say 56. I'm going to trust Romano on 52. How are we going to replace Bruno Fernandes with 52 million pounds? We paid 52 million pounds for Fred. We paid 50 million for Ugarte. How are we going to replace Bruno for 52 million pounds? Like, seriously, guys, how? This is the other thing about Bruno Fernandes. He's not just a quality player, but he's a quality leader. He gets on with everyone. He's always available. Bruno Fernandes is going to be near impossible to replace. I think Bruno Guimaraes would be my ideal Bruno Fernandes replacement in terms of from a deeper perspective. I think he creates chances, he scores, he's a leader, he's a hard worker. Casemiro's recommended signing Bruno Guimaraes. I think he and someone else, maybe I think Bruno Guimaraes, Maino, and someone else, midfield free, could work quite well, potentially. But look, I don't think we'll get Bruno Guimaraes. I don't think he's going to leave Newcastle this summer. I think Tonali will be the one to watch. I think Newcastle will do what they can to get Bruno G on a new deal. But look, he would be phenomenal. And of course, Casemiro's recommended him. But I think for me, I think in terms of Bruno Fernandes' replacement, obviously he's an 8 and Bruno's a 10. But I think he's got that mentality, that leadership, that creativity to drive his team forward. I think Bruno Guimaraes is one of the names that stands out. And talking of Newcastle, just to wind them up a bit more, because we seem to be linked to all their players at the moment. Well, apparently you offered Sesko a higher salary than us, but Sesko still wanted us. Apparently I don't know, it could be media BS, but apparently Newcastle offered Sesko a higher salary. Apparently Newcastle offered Leipzig more money and Sesko still went to Man United. Who knows if that's true? But look, that's just the reports and news coming out. Thank you everyone for watching today's 10-minute roundup. I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream. See you then. Bye.